Before I go any further, I do have one quick announcement. I think I'm going to get this up here. There it is. Jacksonville, Florida. Duval, we are coming. The Life and Times of J.M. Ricketts is coming, and I am excited about it to share it with you. February 8th, 7 p.m. In downtown Jacksonville. You can reach out to us, michaelandconnie.com. If you saw the show in Atlanta, you know what a special time it will be. We've made some changes, revised, modified, and doing some very special things at the upcoming show in Jacksonville. So I want to encourage you, again, sharing. I met people yesterday. Oh my gosh, I'm coming to your show. I heard about your show. I got people down in Jacksonville. I'm contacting them. A person from Boston said, I have friends down there. I'm buying them tickets. It's a special time. You'll laugh. You'll cry. Your horizon will be expanded. I guess we did it over a month and a half ago, and just got an email this past week. The person wrote in and says, I still cannot tell you how deeply that night is resonating and impacting me still. So be there if you're one of those people that say, oh man, a guy told me I was out of town the last time. I'm coming to this one. Come, we'd love to have you. michaelandconnie.com. Get all the tickets. I'll be mentioning it again in January, but wanted to give you a heads up. Tickets are on sale. Space is super uber limited. So and it's a special night. I'm not going to say anything further than that, but anyway, so that's that. Okay, I think that's it for the announcements. We've been going about 4 minutes here, I guess. But I am Michael T. Smith. This is the Church of, and here is your message for the week of December 1st, 2024. We are in a series on favor. Technically, the series is favor, forgiveness, and the flow. We're just at that first part. It is an interesting series. This is part 3. Hold on to your lug nuts. We're gonna go deeper, but not deep. We're not going to be complex today. And I thank you for your grace as I laid out the foundations over these. Put down the foundation of the deep pillars, right? The pylons, right? In this large building that we're building. And I know sometimes it gets heady, right? I know sometimes it gets, why are you using these words? Why are you just, what I'm doing here, what we're doing here is not just for here. It's not just for now. It's for the future. It's in hope that somebody, some way, who's bigger, brighter, smarter, and more charismatic than myself will latch on to these things, these nuggets of truth, and we'll massage them and work them and extrapolate them out, maybe into a larger thing for a larger place in the world. So thank you for your patience as we work through them. And somebody said, well, the terms are complicated and I don't really understand them. Well, today now that you've graced me to laying that kind of heady, weighty foundation part, we're going to dig into it and make it practical. But I must say, I am compelled to warn you again, what I'm teaching, what we're teaching this series, it changes everything. And I know we nod to that. I know we have mental assent to that. But if you listen and just pause, say, okay, I'm not going to be resistant. I'm just going to let him paint the picture for me. I'm not going to, why is it just God ministered to me? Like we always say, you don't ever want to go into a sermon or anything and without praying, God, let my ears be anointed to hear. God, help my eyes see, my heart understand. So we go to that asking the Spirit to turn the light on. Remember, we're just churning, but churning is not the goal. As I teach, I'm just churning. I'm churning in me, churning in you, churning an idea, turning it over. Let's look at it this way. Let's look at it that way. Your textbook's open this way, right? But that's not the goal. The goal is not impressive churning or impressive articulation. The goal is not even simplistic explanation. The goal is for me to put this out, to explain it, to parabolize it, to break it down to the lowest common denominator in hopes of illumination, that something in you says, oh, wow, I see it, and there is truly something to be seen. We started talking about 2 different kinds of favor. Let's get into it today. Favor, tangible kindness, right? Good fortune, right? When we talk about favor, we hear it as the word grace, and it is grace in the sense that it's meritless, but also it's you can think of it as a favor or a form of favor or of God's kindness, but 2 forms of this. Both issued from God, right? Both forms of favor, the kind 1 and kind 2, come from God. And very much the way here in the States now, our money is issued by the U.S. Treasury, right? All of our bills say issued by, in a legal tender, issued by the U.S. Treasury. So favor, the first form, we use the phrase cosmic. People say cosmic is something I have trouble with. Well, then I'll just put it this way. The first form of favor that comes to us is just the favor of life. I like that. I want you to consider cosmic favor as just life, right? I have a good friend of mine who has a podcast, and the podcast title is "It's Called Life." People say, "Well, I'm going through a difficult financial season. It's called life." Well, I'm having trouble with my family. It's called life. Really in a difficult season with my kids. It's called life. Things are kind of changing on my job. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's called life. And so when I talk about the cosmic form of favor, or sometimes you'll hear people say, "I ask the universe for a sign." That's what I mean. When you hear the word cosmic, cosmos, just think of the universe. Think of all that is. And we're talking about this cosmic favor, or this life favor, that's a better way, is just good fortune that seems to come to us randomly, right? That we're in the world, and sometimes the sun is shining on our face and warming us, and sometimes the wind is at our back, and life is good, right? Got a Maserati, it does 185, right? Life is good, and this is random, right? This good life, this good fortune that's come to us, it's random, but here's the thing about it: it feels targeted. It feels like it's happening to me. It feels like, we were scheduling our daughter's 6-year-old birthday party, our grandson's 8-year-old party, and we rented a bounce house, and we rented this, and oh man, they were forecasting rain all week long. And I tell you, we were so stressed because we had been planning it for months, and rain all. But you know, that 2 hours we had the party, not a drop of rain. We got everything set up in the dry, had a party, broke down in the dry, and as soon as we loaded the last bounce house in the van and drove off, the rain came. What is it? Well, it's random. I mean, we certainly don't think that the rain is, that the cosmos is selecting the rain, but we do feel that it's targeted. We feel that this good thing happened to us, and I don't want you to dismiss that. Sometimes we call it luck, right? It's just lucky, or maybe we use the word chance. We sure did get lucky with the weather today. And that's an okay term. Where I come from, luck is bad. They told me the L-U-C-K, the L-U-C is the start of Lucifer, right? That abracadabra is a copy of speaking in tongues. And there's all sorts of things. Stay away from Procter & Gamble and Hilfiger. But there's all sorts of weird things that we learn from the places that I came from. But when sometimes the cosmos, or sometimes the universe, or sometimes life, it just feels lucky, and we say, well, it's just a chance. I mean, why? Because you're over there praying, thanking God that the weather was clear for your child's thing, and somebody else had a wedding and they got rained out. Well, it's random, but it feels targeted, and what that's really about is how we are wired to be drawn to and responsive to good things coming our way. And so when we talk about favor, that's a phrase that we use. We talk about this cosmic or favor of life, right? That my life is being good to me, or life. We say this, things are going my way, right? It's doggy dog, right? It's a doggy dog world. It's a doggy dog day. Everything's going my way. And sometimes if you've been conditioned like me, some by personality and some by religious conditioning, when things are going our way, that's the scariest thing, right? Some of my hard wiring and my anxiety is things are going my way. Well, it's only a matter of time before it breaks down. As a matter of fact, that's the worst thing that could happen is things be going good, because that's sure a sign things are about to turn bad. So you can't even enjoy the joyous parts, but I digress. So, And this life favor that we've been talking about, and so when you think, oh man, I made the red light. Well, I was running late running late, and man, I made the green lights. It's 4 green lights in a row. Never had it happen before. It was just favor. It's just random, right? But it feels targeted. It feels like it's a personal goodness to us from world. And this randomness, this seeming randomness that it's random, that it's just happening to us, it is rooted in kind of a root randomness, which is the who of your life, right? There's who's in your life. Martha Mayhew, right? So there's the who of your life, the what of your life, the where of your life, the when of your life, even the why of your life. That kind of shapes our prospects for random good fortune. And so this is a humbling process to go through, that where I was born and when I was born and to whom I was born, and my gender or my color or my primary language, all of these things kind of shape this good fortune. And what? Just, man, I've just had a lucky life or a heaven-kissed life or a blessed life. It's true, but I can't explain it. It's true, but if you look around at the who, what, where, when, being born of African descent, in first century Rome or first century Rome, to Christian parents. If you had Christian parents and you were of African descent, born in first century Rome, that's not a real fortunate who, what, when, where to be born, right? But I tell you what, in ancient Rome, but in Black Rome, right here in Atlanta, right? I mean, the largest concentration of African American thriving in the United States, right here. I mean, we have a higher percentage of African American people than New York. I mean, listen. There are a lot of I wouldn't say being born black in Atlanta is the same as being born white in Atlanta. We don't live in that type of country. But I would tell you what, being born to Christian parents in Black Rome in the 21st century, a little different animal than being born to Christian parents in African descent in first century Rome. So man, I was surrounded by a faith community that was thriving. I was surrounded by a faith community that's some of the largest faith communities in the city. I was used to seeing African people of African descent, black mayors, black city council people, black sheriffs. I mean, my God, looking around, I've had, it'd be a little different thing back in ancient Rome. So as you measure the favor of life, the good fortune of life, and again, I'm not saying it's equal to being born white in Atlanta or to rich parents or poor parents or whatever. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just trying to sensitize you to the who, what, where, when, why goes into shaping the seeming randomness of the fortune, the good fortune we have in life. So moving on, I hope you understood the deeper point there. The second kind of favor we're talking about is human favor. So we have just this random favor that comes to us in life that's random, but it feels personal. Man, just look how blessed I am, right? Then we have the second form of favor. And again, everything that's happening, the goal of this is to reveal Christ. And if you just sit just for a minute, it's going to do something good inside you. So human favor is kind of the good fortune that comes to us by the willful actions of people, right? That people willfully bring good, targeted good in our lives. It could be a kind of a bird shot, right? Target that's kind of widespread, or even a buckshot, or even a rifle shot. Like sometimes it's just I'm putting it out there and I'm doing it for the good of the birds. But then sometimes I'm aiming toward But then sometimes it's direct. But when people by their willful actions, some people say, well, I created a program for people who are from single moms, from this and that, from there and that, and I've just decided to fund their 4-year degree. Well, that's a targeted thing, not necessarily for me, my Social Security number, but boy, I sure do fit in that group. And so there's a human, look at this now, a human expression of favor, tangible goodness coming to your life by the willful actions of people. But it's also tied to the randomness of your station in life that's come to you by the cosmos or by what has been brought about by life itself. So if life favor or life chance or life good fortune or luck, right? If that we say, well, man, life is going my way, things are going my way. When you think of human favor, I want you to think of people going out of their way. Out of their way to what? To prioritize you. Right? A person went out of their way to prioritize me, to prioritize your welfare, to prioritize, I have this in my notes, and you don't have to have it in your notes, that shouldn't be a lot of notes, to prioritize your bon voyage, your good journey. If you go back, and of course my time in organized religion and my time in weaponized Christianity, so much rich teaching there from the Hebrew and Christian scriptures. One of the favorite teachings that I've ever heard is out of in the Christian scriptures, an epistle, 3 John 2, written by John or stewarded by John or had nothing to do with John, inspired by John, but somehow, some way in the lore it was passed down to us, this blessing. I pray that you prosper above all things, that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And hearing that word prosper, one of the definitions meant things going well. Another definition meant having a good journey, that things would be well on the journey of life. And I like that. So when you think of human favor, it's somebody out of their willful action, targeting you, prioritizing your welfare, prioritizing the bondness, right? Bond, bueno, bien, bond, the good voyage, the good journey. Someone prioritizing bringing goodness into your journey. And they're doing it, hear me, for non-selfish reasons. It's not, well, I'm doing this for you to scratch your back, you're going to owe me one, or, I may call upon you one day for a favor in return or whatever. But it's somebody targeting you, targeting your voyage, targeting and prioritizing your welfare with non-selfish, non-political, and nonpartisan ends. I'm not being good to you to hope you'll join my side and vote my way. I'm not being good to you in hoping that to strengthen my faction and to weaken theirs. I'm just being good to you for the sake of bringing goodness in your life. And these two forms of favor, this is what we're taking stock of. Just what the randomness of the who, what, why, where in our life has created a foundation for the good fortune of our life that comes to us, and in combination with the targeted, intentional human action favor. These two forms of favor are where we are focusing. So this thought, this working this through, and I hope this is a little slower. I hope I'm not talking as fast. I'm triple excited, but I'm trying to just stay calm. These thoughts, okay, just the cosmic favor, just the good life, the good things in life that have just befallen me, for I can't really explain, although it is tied to who, what, where, when, and then just the good things people have sought me out and done for me. A coach that took me under their wing, a board that approved something that really wasn't technically the rule, but it seemed like they'd make an exception in your case. I mean, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 little micro, tiny expressions of favor that have fed into the giant macro good fortune in our lives. That leads us to the key question, the fundamental question of true religion. So if you say, Mike, you were in weaponized religion, what are you in now? Well, I'm endeavoring to lay hold of, to express, to embody, to pass on, to teach, and I never wanted to pastor again. I never wanted to pastor in the first place, and then I found out there's just something in me, whether this is by divine orchestration or I stumbled into it, I cannot get away from, I'm not going to get emotional, my care for you. My care for people. There's just something still about me, even though I'm writing and I'm working, and I just showed you the one-man show, and even though I have all those parts of me that are still alive, there's a part of me I can't cut off, which is I just want to see good in your life, and that's the you. Lowercase, the U's as the folks from Pittsburgh, the yins, right? Yins, right? Or you capital. I mean that you specifically, right? The understood you and the specified you. Like they say in a tragedy or whatever, when somebody's down, don't just say someone call 911. They used to teach me in lifeguard school. You point right at a person and say, you call 911. That way they can't just say, you call 911. I'm telling you, there's something in me wants to see you thrive. So the question of true religion now is this: of all the favor available in the universe, right? Of all the kindness, the tangible goodness of just the good fortune, of all the good fortune that exists in the universe, here's the question: what share do I have? What share do I have? If there's 7.5 billion people on the planet, so far as we know, there's no other people anywhere. Now, I'd like to think that there are. Maybe there are. Maybe there will be someday. Maybe there was at another time. But we've seen no evidence of that. For whatever reason, all the goodness. I mean, the rest of the universe is kind of cold and indifferent. But there's a lot of warm, good fortune going on here on our planet, and there's a lot of pain here. But there's indifference everywhere. But for whatever reason, on our planets, there's indifference and love. There's indifference and benevolence. Right here. I mean, you are in the seat of the universe, so far as we know. And of all that's there, distributed among the 7.5 billion people on planet Earth, what share of it do you have? And I'll submit to you right now, if you're listening to me, understanding me with technology, with electricity, whatever, I'll tell you what, you're probably not somewhere in the middle, right? You're probably somewhere a little better than average, I would imagine. Take stock of your life, the who, what, where, when. You think, man, where I was born, who I was born to, why I was born. We talked about that. When I was born. I mean, all those things. Gee, I guess that is pretty good. I mean, I could have been born in a different country. I could have been born in a different time. I could have been born, there's always, Connie loves being a woman. She's, oh my gosh, I love being a woman. I would never want to be a woman. Why would anyone ever want to be a woman, right? What's she saying? Annie, right? Was it Carol Burnett in Annie? Was she the man, Miss Hannigan? Why anybody would want to be an orphan is beyond me. I mean, why anybody would want to be a woman is beyond me. Connie loves being a woman. Well, listen, I guess they really aren't as smart as men. I don't know. But Connie loves being a woman. But I think, man, being a woman at any time, right? I mean, maybe in the, is it Etrusian? Who's the Etrusian? Whatever there was, a very successful, and there have been other female prominent societies, it's not matriarchal societies. So the Etrusians, I think it is. Maybe one time, one place, but most times, most places, it's just better to. It's less bad. I don't even understand. But so I think, man, well, my life's pretty good. Connie loves being a girl. She loves being a woman. I said, my God, what's wrong with you? But whatever. Well, she's a girl. That explains it. But I wouldn't want to switch, I wouldn't want to switch. I like being in America. America's got a lot of issues. I like being in America. I've traveled to different parts of the world. I love parts of the world. I love sitting with anybody, anywhere, first, second, third world. It doesn't matter. I can go anywhere. I love it. I feel comforted, I feel safe, I feel this, but I'm not ignorant. I see the benefits and the prosperity in our country. I see the rule of law. There's a lot of prosperity in a lot of places, not a lot of peace and security. And listen, it's no good. Here we have gates around people's houses. Keep the dogs in and the door-to-door salespeople out. There they have gates and bars and everything else because they got a lot of money, but they don't know who's coming in to take it all tomorrow. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, and even there's safety and security issues in America, but it's still not the rest of the world. So consider on the micro, the small level, take stock of your life. On the macro, the giant, big things that matter, what type of human and life favor have come to you? Remember, as you take stock, as you look around at your life, favor is tangible. These kindnesses are tangible, meaning they have substance to them, but they're not all material. It's not all money, right? It's not all dollar amount. So now let's go a little bit farther. In your mind, here's what I want you to do. This is big now. Somebody said, well, this produces gratitude in me. I think, I was thinking last week, Pastor Mike, when you finished, I just felt, and I guess you did that because it was Thanksgiving week, so you just did it. No, I really didn't even think about Thanksgiving week, and really my goal here is not gratitude. I'm looking for something deeper. I'm trying to provoke something deeper inside you. So in your mind, let's go right now. 7.5 billion people on the planet. Of course, we know this is changing constantly. I want you to think, okay, sort the people in your mind. Who is the most favored person on planet Earth right now? There is a most favored, and they're in slot 1, and at slot 7.5 billion, we would call that person the least favored. So we're Southwest Airlines, right? We're looking at our tickets. Okay. I'm boarding group A, B, and C. Are you C-43? Okay, can we switch here? And I'm C-40. It doesn't matter. You can go ahead of me. We're all C. It doesn't really matter. God hates us, right? So that's the thing, and that might be old Southwest. So here's the question: when you think in your brain, who do you put in slot 1? Think about the 7.5 billion people on the planet. Who do you put in slot 1? Interesting thing I can tell you about your list, like a TikTok magician. I can tell you something like a TikTok psychic. I can tell you what I know right now, that I bet you dollars to donuts that the richest person in the world is not who you have in slot 1 as the most favored and good fortuned life. I mean, we know who the richest person in the world is, and I dare say none of you said, oh, number 1, totally that guy. Why? Because material does not necessarily make a person totally summarize good fortune. I was talking to Connie about that. She said, I don't even think the top 10 richest people, when I put as the number 1. I guarantee, as a matter of fact, as you start digging into it, there may be nobody on the Forbes list that out of the 7.5 billion people, you would say, yep, the most favored, good fortuned, heaven-kissed life on the planet is this person. Because we know. Why? Because we can look at the top 10, top 100, top 400, top 1,000 richest people, and we can see the misfortune in their lives. So you say, well, well, Pastor Mike, I don't have a specific person in mind who I think is the most favored in the planet, but I have a type of profile. That's fine. Well, then let's take the other side. Who you may not have a Social Security number in mind, even if they have a Social Security number, but who would you put in spot 7.5 billion? And you say, I don't have a face or a name, but do you have a profile? Do you have a type? Do you have a geographical location? It's interesting because if you have a geographical location, you might not be understanding what it means to have good fortune, because sometimes we assume people born here, people born there, people born here, people that come from here are somehow deprived of goodness. And the truth is, no one in human existence is entirely deprived of cosmic and human good fortune. So we may not have a specific person in mind for the top, but we have a profile. We may not have a specific person in mind for the 7.5 billion slot, but we have a profile. Well, let me help you as we dig through this exercise. First of all, keep in mind that the 7.5 billion list, person in boarding slot A1 and person in boarding slot Z 7.5 billion, it's not a static list. I want you to think of it like a stock ticker, right? It's always changing. It's always scrolling across the bottom. That somebody who's in 1.1 today might be in 0.3 tomorrow, position 3 tomorrow. Somebody who's in 7.5 billion might get bumped up. Somebody might get bumped up. That life is always changing. It takes one little random circumstance of misfortune to totally shift this idea in one way or the other. So keep that in mind. Here's a second thought. Would the person you have slotted in slot 1, would they agree that they are the most favored? Boy, that's a big idea. If you said, oh yeah, I know who, and you put them up there, the question is, if you say, hey, you were just selected as most favored person on planet Earth, the most good fortune life on planet Earth, most, not semi-charmed kind of life. I mean, like mega charmed, like completely charmed kind of life. Do you agree that that's you? I don't know who told you that, but you don't know my life, right? And guess what else? Would the person, the profile, that's what I was saying, the type, person, place, who, what, where, when, that you placed in the 7.5 billion, maybe not specifically, but who you I think I kind of know it is. Be interesting to me. You were just voted, John and Frida, members of TCO, just decided you fit the profile for the least fortunate person on planet Earth, that your life is the most favored, deprived, and would you agree with that? And they would say, they don't know my life at all. Well, I'll give you a hint. In our theoretical exercise of lining ourselves up, right? Who, slot 1, slot 7.5 billion, I'll give you a hint. This will help you. Both the top spot and the bottom spot are at all times, occupied by a child. That should help you. That at that top spot, that top child, that most enviable of all humans in the 7.5 billion, that innocent, alive, loved, secure, curious springtime of life, it's doggy dog every day, and it's sweaty faces and sticky ice cream and eating watermelon without eating watermelon in your underwear, even in the middle of the roughest neighborhood in the world, you're eating it, and it's just good and it's delicious and it's cold on a sunny day, and my God, the whole world would do anything to be you. And think of all the top richest people in the world. You put the top 100, top 1,000. How many of them would trade anything to go back to that? Right? All the adults wish they could be that kid, that little girl again. Little Connie and her hit me with your best shot, Rockefeller Road review, whatever she did there. Doing her dance with her friends, and they got the hit me with your best shot. Me running around at the carnival with my cousin, the fair, running here and getting on the spinny thing that goes around, and the DJ local radio, step outside to the front of the ride. Just going, and is there ever a better time in life? Right? The top spot at any given time. And it's not always the same child, but there's always children crowding for that top spot, because sure enough, somebody's in the most favored, and this and that's the greatest thing is doggy dog, and then wham, they drop their ice cream, right? Great. Phew, just coming into this week in a Casey case of number 1 on the last spot has fallen to number 500,000 on today's countdown. Here she is again with Sarah trying to eat her dirty ice cream. And at the bottom, the least fortunate on the planet at any given time. The stock ticker changes. Here's the top spot. Here's the top spot. At the bottom, it's ever changing. I mean, it's probably changed 200 times since we've been having this conversation. But at the bottom slot, the most pitiable is a child. Some child in the last moments of life, the last days of life. Some child ravaged and terrified and alone. Not the child, we think, oh, it's a child crying out for help from a mom or a dad who would never come. I want my mom, they would never come. And truly, that's not the most unfortunate child. For blessed is the child who has anyone to cry out for. Or blessed is a child who in that last moments of terror can turn inward and call upon self-soothing, nurturing memories of love and safety that they would long for and kind of isolate inside that. That's a blessed child. That child cannot occupy the 7.5 billion spot. No, the most pitiable child is the one who is not calling out for help for someone who can't get there or would come running if they could or if they knew. The most pitiable child on the planet is the one who is pleading to and bargaining with its caregivers for mercy, for commutation. Please, Mommy, no. Please, Grandma, no. Please, Daddy, no. Remember what we're trying to do in this series, which is to reshuffle your doctrinal card deck so that you're more in line with Christ. And I will ask you now, just in this moment, thinking about the top spot and the bottom spot and what it means to be the most blessed and the fine line between the most blessed child and the most pitiable child. The fine line, I ask you now, is your Christianity becoming actionable yet? You should be hearing this in all the teachings of Christ, that the ones that have been stolen from us by weaponized, corrupt religion, and this get on the right team before you die, and that God had to kill somebody because he's a blood-hungry, bloodlusty thing to write the charts, and all that garbage, all that satanic garbage. Hopefully, you're peeling the chitlin garbage out to get to the not delicious, good chitlin parts separated from the gunk. It's not delicious, and maybe for some people it is, but no. But you're hopefully separating that out and saying, oh my God, I'm getting all the stolen Christ out of this stuff, the get on our team, the nationalism, the tribalism, the conditional religion out, and what's left is, oh my God, I'm hearing what he said about children, because he was trying to teach us something about religion. Here's an interesting thing. We could just pause here for a minute. I'm not going to be here with you all day because I got things not to do today on my last day of Thanksgiving break. Where are you? Where are you? I would tell you this: in the 7.5 billion, I'm the richest man you know, right? Probably not as rich as 8-year-old me or 9-year-old me riding his bike up and down the street to the stop and go, nowhere near. But as far as adults go, right? That's what my sister Michelle used to call adults, and she thought it was what is A? Is that a modifier? What is that? Article. The article was adults, so it's always the adults. As far as all the adults on the planet, yeah, I'm the richest man you know. You ain't got no problems. I do, but it's come on, man. Who's got it better than me? So I'm gonna close here with this mega idea, so I got 3 mega ideas. I'll give you one. So when it comes to cosmic favor or life favor, this random good stuff that happens to us that feels targeted, there's an evolution of thought I want to take you through. There's a process of progress in thinking about this, and we're going to start with mega idea 1. Mega idea 1 is this. Most religions teach us that that good fortune and misfortune, right? Good fortune and misfortune. Or as my daughter would have said it before, why can't it be Mr. Fortune? Why is it a misunderstanding? Boys don't misunderstand. Boys don't understand. It could be a Mr. Understanding. I said, Olivia, you're on to something there. Most religion teaches us that good fortune and misfortune are not random at all, that they're always targeted, that when good things happen, it's because we've been good, or when bad things happen, it's because we've been bad, and it's all based on how fully we have obeyed the gods or how fully we have appeased the gods. And most of us came to God, came to our relationship with God, even before we officialized it. We came to it through that door. When life was good, we must have been doing good. Or when life was bad, we must have been doing bad. And that's how most religion are built. Still under Mega Idea 1. But eventually, moving forward, we get trained to see misfortune as random, but good fortune as targeted, which is, bad happens to good people all the time, but good only happens to good and goodering people, right? So we get trained like, man, my car, my pastor was teaching one time how Satan, the Christian scriptures say, the word is sown and Satan cometh immediately to take the word that was sown out of their hearts. And he said one time, now listen, you guys are in here laughing, but the devil's already out on the hood of your car. You're hearing this message. He's ready to take this thing from you. He's waiting on you. So you're saying amen in church, but you got to be ready to steal the word. And I'll be doggone, I walked out and at the end of the service, and I had a flat tire. And I think I had no donut and torn up car with a jack that didn't fit the lug nuts, and I'm just out there, and everybody's going, Minister Mike, can I help you? Minister Mike, can I help you? I got this old car, a car with instructions. Did it have a manual? No, it had instructions. Somebody said, what's the difference? A car with instructions is like, hey, man, don't lock the doors. I don't have the key. Hey, man, when you get to a red light, put it in neutral and press the gas because it'll cut out on you. That's a car with instructions. We had a car with instructions. And I remember seeing that flat tire, and I thought, oh, he was so right. The devil's on my hood trying to take the word from me. So bad things happen, right? That's just part of life. But good things happening, that's targeted. That's because I'm good and or at least gooder, than other people. And that's a step. So we start out saying, this bad thing happened. What am I done wrong? How have I not appeased? This good thing happened. I must be doing something right. And then we move forward to this next idea, which is, okay, well, bad happens, but there's more good than bad in my life because I'm more good, right, in my life. Now, a strange thing about this, and we really are wrapping up, a strange thing about this is kind of the anti-theist, right? The anti-theistic mindset. It presses us to conclude this, that, well, there's good fortune and misfortune, and they're as random as the universe itself. No sense reading in, something bad happened. Did I do bad? Something good happened. Did I do good? No sense reading into anything. Bad and good happens, and it's really not even bad and good. It's just like asteroids bumping around, on the old video game. They just bump here and they break here. That's all it is. There's nothing to read into it. Life is either great, and it's great to be you, or life sucks and it sucks to be you. I mean, and that can change 25 times a day. Stop reading into it. There's nothing going on at all. It's just cosmic life indifference. It changes daily. Some days it's great to be you. Some days it sucks to be you. Some moment to moment it's great to be you. Moment to moment it sucks to be you. And then you die and you move into nothing. Well, the problem with that is this. There's a problem with all three of those. There's a problem with an idea of when the bad things happen, God's trying to tell me something. God trying to tell you. God trying to tell you. When the good things happen, is God trying to wink at you and say, keep doing what you're doing. That's a bad way to think. The other thing is, well, bad happens, but when good happens, it's because I'm gooder. It's a bad way to think. Then there's another bad way to think, which is, why even read into it, dude? Stuff happens. It's just stuff good and bad. Just don't get too high on it, because it'll probably be, the Zen master and the little boy, right? It might seem bad today, it'll be good tomorrow. It might seem good today, it'll be bad tomorrow, whatever. But there's a problem with that. First of all, the problem here is that this idea of, well, it doesn't matter what you do, good and bad happens. The problem is it's not actionable. And that's a big thing. Well, good happens and bad happens. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't read anything. The problem with that thinking is it's not actionable. There's nothing you can do with it. Resigning our lives to a que sera, sera. Well, whatever's going to be is going to be. It deprives us of agency, which is what? There's nothing for me to do here. That's not actionable. What? If good and bad is going to happen no matter what, then I'm not going to do anything. Because if I do something, it doesn't matter. Bad could happen. If I don't do something, it doesn't matter. So the problem with this nihilistic idea is it's not actionable. And it's obviously foolish and not in harmony with reality. Why? Because it is true. Life, right? The cosmic, the random things, the who, what, where, and where of our lives, the sun shining, the rain. It's really these circumstances are happening to all of us. But our agency rests. They're out of our control. But all we have is our agency in responding to those things, and that's really where our self is. That's really where we are as individuals in the middle of all this, right? And we'll talk about that. So he said, well, just let it happen. It doesn't matter. You can run as fast as you can to catch up with the sun, and it's going to come behind you again, right? It's time, right? There's nothing to it. Well, that's not actionable because resigning yourself to that takes away the only power that you have. We're all in a universe where before we got here, the who, what, where, when, why happened to us. But we have to have as our power, as our lone ability to exert our will in a place of things that are so far beyond our control. Truly, all we have is the little ways in which we can push for the good. Right? In the middle of all that's random, I'm pushing for the good. I have the power to do that. And I say good as best I understand it. It really, but I'm pushing for the good. I'm pushing for a better job. I'm pushing for a better life. I'm pushing for a healthier marriage. I'm pushing. Say, well, you did all that, and then your whole family died in a plane crash. Well, but I can't just put it in park and let life happen to me. Life is happening to me all the time, and I'm continually readjusting and responding to me because that is the act of living life. So I want to push the good forward. And with as much as I can, this little tiny me and this big giant cosmos, this big giant universe, this big giant life, I want to push the bad backward as best I can discern. I'm pushing off this. I think it's bad that I'm being fired, so I want to get some training. I think it's bad that I'm flunking out of school, but yeah, well, you might have flunked out of school and discovered your art career and it'd have been great. Yeah, but I don't know that. I'm not psychic. I can't see around the corner. I'm trying to exercise whatever agency I have because that's what it means to live. To what? To trust God. Yes, I trust God beyond what I can see. Okay, God, I don't really understand what's going on here. I believe you're good, and I believe that I'm wired to receive good, and when I receive good, it feels targeted, it feels personal, and I can't really say, well, I don't enjoy the good because there's no difference between the good and the bad because I know good feels a lot better than, I've been rich and I've been poor. I tell you, rich is better, and, but you're rich and you're deceived, or you're rich and you're arrogant, or you're rich and well, that's true. I'm just saying, but you could be all those good person character quality characteristics and also have a few bucks in your pocket. I mean, there's some other ways to end up, and maybe you've not been there, you don't know. But I trust God beyond what I can see and understand. But I'm also doing what I know and doing what I can do. This thing, two mice, right? They fell in a vat of cream. You've heard this story with that old children's tale from the sea. Two mice fall into a vat of cream. And they're kicking their legs, and the first mouse gets tired and gives up and says it's no use, and he drowns. But the second mouse keeps kicking his little legs until he turns that cream into butter. And the guy said, "I'm the second mouse. Well, I'm going to be the second mouse, right? If the ship's going down, I'm going to be the second mouse." So it's not actionable to say, well, no matter what you do. But the other problem with good and bad comes to everybody. Some people are, born great into great places. Some people are born into just terrible circumstances. Nothing you can do about it. Well, the problem is that's not actionable. There's nothing. There's no will you can exert. But the second problem is it's not accountable. Because when you just say, good and bad comes, there's nothing you can do. Don't bring God into it. There's no, well, that's not accountable. Why? Because when good and bad comes and it doesn't matter what you do, it's just going to happen. It happens to everybody. Some people get dealt a good hand of cards. Some people don't. What are you going to do? It's not accountable. Why? Because it doesn't ask us to take a look at the hand we've been dealt. And it doesn't ask us to live generously out of that good fortune. The nihilistic worldview is not accountable. It relieves us of our duty. You see, once you realize that the most fortunate on the planet at any given time is a child, and the least fortunate on the planet at every given moment is a child, You can't resign yourself to, well, sometimes it's great to be a kid, sometimes it sucks to be a kid. Well, that's not actionable, and it's not accountable. And in fact, it is contrary to Christ in any form. The mythical Christ, the biblical Christ, the historical Christ, the actual Christ, whatever Christ is, whoever Christ was, whatever Christ stands for, it does not stand for knowing that you are in a higher position of favor and living in complete disregard for those whose lives are not as fortunate. No matter what level we estimate Christ, on what dimension we estimate Christ. I don't even know if he lived. Well, there's myths about him. Well, I don't even know if I believe those myths. Well, there's truisms in it. Whatever or I totally believe the biblical, whatever dimension you believe to be true about Christ, there's nothing in Christ. Maybe you could make an argument for not being actionable. I'm just going to go with the flow. Me and Del Griffith, just like a twig on the shoulders of a mighty stream. I'm going with the flow. That is an argument. But what is not an argument consistent with Christ is to not recognize the favorableness of your station and to not act responsibly out of that favorable station. So what I'm interested in here is not gratitude. Pastor Mike, I heard what you said, and I just think about it. Nah, God, I'm just really grateful. Gratitude is one thing. Gratitude might move you into God. I just feel like I'm centered in God when I'm grateful. But only accountability moves us into Christ. Because if you can separate all the nationalistic, tribalistic, weaponized political religion, the farce that's been made in the name of the person, slapping him on the masthead, we do it under his flag and all that demonic stuff. If you can peel all that away, certainly you can hear all the teachings and stories about the good fortuned walking right past the misfortuned and not seeing. And stepping into Christ and stepping into true religion is acting accountably in that reality. But that begins with just thinking of the 7.5 billion people and figuring out where you stand. Well, you're not a child right now listening to me, crying out for mercy, pleading and bargaining with a caregiver to cease and desist in their abusive aims and ends. So we know you're not 7.5 billion. And you may not be the child who's maximizing out in the snow at the lake effect. Snow came out of nowhere. They walked out. All mom and dad saw was, holy Hades, what are we going to do now? A kid saw, oh my God, a winter wonderland has come early. Well, you're probably not that kid. But you have way more than 7.5 billionth of the goodness in the universe. Thinking of God might make you grateful. Seeing Christ will make you accountable. And now we're putting our toes in to what true religion is all about. We'll stop there. I hope you got something out of it. Thank you for your support. If this is changing your life, if this is shepherding you, if this is guiding you, if this teaching, the church has two parts. It has its teaching part, which we need pastors. Pastors teach us, they inspire us, they stretch us. I'm doing that, and it is fitting to say, my God, this is transforming my life. I want to support the humans that are bringing this through whatever form, whether they're anointed or whether they're mystics or whether they're whatever they are. But this is helping me. And if you say, I'm getting something out of this, communicate that value to us by your support. It means more than you know. But what are we trying to get us to, though? Being part of the church is I'm going to support the church that feeds me. But there's something deeper. Being part of Christ means I'm going to estimate where I stand as the cards of favor are being dealt out into the world randomly, right, by life chance, by humankind. And I sit here and I go, man, I got a pretty fat little hand here. Like, this is kind of embarrassing, really. Well, moving into Christ as the body of Christ. A better way to say that. See, we used to think body of Christ meant, well, I'm in the club of believers and I'm in the body and everybody else is not. And we read that, all those mystical truths about when the little toe's not doing well, we're all not doing well. We read that as when the littlest Christian's not well, then the biggest Christian's not well. But really what we should read is we're all connected to each other in the cosmos, interconnected. I've told you about that book, right? I can't remember Dan something or other, it doesn't matter. But the /WE. It's me and you. It's we, right? That's what the point is, that I'm not, okay, I'll give it to you, Pastor Mike. I'm not number 1 out of 7.5 billion, but I'm certainly not number 7.5 billion out of 7.5 billion. And I don't even think I'm at the 3.75 billion. I think I'm really up in the top billion here, if I got to be honest with you. And you may be, you may not be, but I suppose that there's this intangible, there's this non-material, tangible goodness in every place, in every planet, in every country, in every village, in every neighborhood, in every trailer park, in every backwater town, in every condo, in every high-rise. That exists and is available for everybody. But when you put the material on top of it, you could be just as tangibly, non-materially wealthy as somebody else in any other village. But the fact that you have material power to put on top of that, I mean, really assess where you are. Are you in the top billion? Does that mean there's 6.5 billion people not as good fortunate as you? Wherever you are, stepping into Christ means I'm going to be an ongoing embodiment of that actionable love, that accountable love that goes about doing good and healing all as Christ did. That's what we were supposed to have inherited from him. Not this garbage, you better repent before he gets you and get on our team. That is straight from hell. And it is the tares. The truth was sown, and within minutes, a false demon doctrine of get on the right team or God ain't with you came immediately, and the tares have been taken root, but we're getting back to the wheat, I believe. Live as embodied love. Okay, that's it. That's all I got. Peace, health, protection, preservation, soundness, abundance, aboveness, prosperity, favor, and Zoe. Life, light, goodness, love surround you and flow through you in a mighty, mighty way. And I encourage you, I bless you, I lift you. Connie and I do every day. And we give God praise for you, and you are blessed. May we awaken to the sensitivity of that and the accountability of that in new ways. I praise you for it, Lord, in Jesus' name. And of course, do not forget, February 8th, 2025, one-man show, Jacksonville, Florida, michaelandconnie.com. Get your tickets. Be there, be there. It's a blessed time. It's funny, yeah, but there's a lot more deeper stuff going on, and I guarantee you it'll be a blessing to you. It's not church. Don't go, I always want to hear you preach live. This is me being my fullest me. There's more God in this than you can ever realize. It isn't church. So if you're sensitive, it's for grown folks only. You may not want to be there, but it's not dirty because I thought it was going to be dirty. It's not dirty at all. It's just grown folks talking about very meaningful and funny and tender things. I encourage you to check it out. All right, that's it. Make it a great day, a great week. My whole family loves you.